Hello and welcome to the Guitar Collection. In my hands today is a very hard to get guitar and one that I have not played before. And so I'm happy to get to know this instrument and happy to introduce to you this guitar that was made by Michel Belair, who was a Canadian luthier based in Montreal. Now, you might have seen his name before because he is very well known for his Friedrich model guitars, but lately his double top guitars have been taking the guitar world by storm. I've been hearing about them from friends and colleagues that have played them at different festivals, from those that have been lucky enough to get their hands on one and try one. They have been shouting from the rooftops about these guitars, and now I understand why. So, just starting off with the specs of this guitar and also some of the aesthetic features that I really like. You'll notice it is a cedar top. It is a Cedar Doubletop with Nomex being the layer in between, which you cannot see through the top, which I find is quite appealing. You'll notice this really nice, I believe, a Madagascar rosewood bridge here with a matte finish. You'll see on the tie block the same motif that you'll notice in the rosette, which I have to say I really like quite a lot. Just the polish on this guitar and the matte touches, whether it's on here on the bridge or up on the headstock, it just has such an elegant touch to it. And something else that's very interesting about this guitar is when you look inside the sound hole, you will see this waveguide, which is basically a mini tornavos meant to lower the main air resonance of the guitar and make a deeper sound that you might have noticed from the introduction and the clips you'll hear later in the video. This has been coined by the German luthier Dennis Toltz, who puts these in his instruments. And you'll actually notice a little note under the luthier's label here that says waveguide designed by Dennis Toltz, which I think is quite nice. You see a lot of little miniature tornavoses lately, and it's nice to see the credit given where credit is due there. And boy, does it make this sound a little bit more special, I can imagine. This is not something that's removable from the guitar, but I think it brings some separation and clarity to the guitar that's really welcomed. A little bit more pianistic, let's say, without it losing the character of the guitar. So it's hard to put it into words. It's better that you just listen and see, but let me just talk about the rest of the specs about this guitar. When you turn it around, you will notice this beautiful Indian rosewood back and sides. When you look at this back, you would immediately think that it's a one-piece back because you do not notice the seam. Although it is certainly two pieces, I love it when luthiers do this. It just looks so clean, and it's such a classy looking guitar. Like I mentioned, on the headstock, there is this matte finish, and it's very obviously inspired by Friedrich. This headstock is almost exactly like a Friedrich guitar that you would notice, except maybe this matte finish throughout the entire headstock is that unique thing. I know I keep on talking about it, but I really like the matte finish on this guitar. Looking at the tuners, you have these super smooth Barnett tuners, which I am a big fan of. They're very lightweight, very, very smooth, and comparable to the very, very best tuners. The neck shape, I have to say, is one of those cases. I hate to admit it. I know I'll hear from my friends and colleagues about this, but it does make a case for the D-shaped neck. My preference, if you know me on this channel, is a C-shaped thinner neck, but this neck is a little bit on the thicker side and is a little bit more D-shaped, but I just find it so comfortable. Maybe it also has to do with the fretwork and the setup of this guitar, which is immaculate. I have to say, within the top 3 setups or playabilities that I felt on any guitar ever, everything is so low, yet it does not buzz. You can hear me lay into things, and no buzzing on that 6th string. And I don't want to peak the microphone, but the action is so low here. I mean, you just see the string barely above the fret, and it's just so easy to play. Everything is very, very smooth. Stretches feel really nice on this guitar, so I have to say it is so easy and perfect in terms of playability. Maybe we'll go into a little bit more of what I'm thinking about the sound when I'm playing this instrument and getting to know it over the past few days. It has the most reliable sound imaginable to me. I think it competes with the likes of Antonius Mueller and Glenn Cannon. In my opinion, some of the luthiers that have really mastered sustain. It is exactly the same attack and exactly the same sustain on almost every single note, and especially in these very fragile areas of the first string. Everything sounds the same. There's not a weak note. There's not one that shoots out and that you have to kind of back off for. And it makes playing pieces like La Catedral by Barrios just so effortless. Take a listen. In areas where you typically would just have to rush on to the next note, you're actually able to use vibrato. It's a really, really nice feeling. And all these types of melodies. You've heard me say before probably that sound influences playability, but I really think that is still very underrated. When a guitar sounds a certain way and gives you the sustain that you need and doesn't make you feel insecure, your hands relax and you back up and you're just able to make music. And I think this guitar is very, very capable of that. Now, so far, I've only had the guitar in standard tuning, but you have to hear this thing when you tune down into the drop D, whereas really where you hear this depth of the guitar just absolutely power through. Trebles also just give you this feeling of bubbles popping. I always describe this when guitars have this character. I guess it's just a perfect treble sound. Maybe it also has to do with the response time of the instrument. It's very quick response on this guitar. Listen to the clarity of that third string. Well, it's probably time to get to some real musical examples on this guitar. Congratulations to Michel Belair for building such an incredible instrument. I think he's onto something really great. If you are interested in this guitar, check it out at guitarcollection.com. It may still be available if you're watching this video quickly after its release. And even if you're not interested in this guitar, or you might be interested in one in the future, check out the website. There's a lot of new instruments coming in, both old and new. I'm very fortunate to have a chance to try all of these guitars, and hopefully you will too. There's also a box on the website to where if you enter in your email address, I'll notify you when instruments like this one become available before the video is released. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any other questions about the guitar, you can write to me at my email address if you're looking for something specific or you are looking to sell your current instrument. I'd be happy to help you with that. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the following clips.
Thank you.